Welcome to Crunchy AI Talks. Today's guest is Sharmilaa Kannan. She is the Vice President of HR at Kensium, with 19 plus years of experience in strategic HR, L&D, and talent development. She is a multi-award winning HR leader, honored as HR 40 under 40 and top 100 great people managers in 2023. Let's welcome her to the show. The main agenda of this podcast is to ensure I get a lot of knowledge from you, who has like 20 plus years of experience, and then spread across the knowledge to all the people around, so that we help each other and then grow together.
Hey, thank you so much. I think the podcast is truly wonderful. I did get to watch some of the earlier episodes, and I must say you're doing a commendable job out there. And I'm glad, I'm truly glad you took the opportunity to invite me, and I'm glad I could make it. So I
Thank
hope
you.
I'm able to add something today for everyone who's listening out there.
Absolutely, that's definitely there. We'll quickly move on to the questions. The
Sure.
first important question is, what do top HRs like you actually look for in a student's resume?
Great question. I think here's the truth, right? Like, unlike most recruiters would say, we're not scanning for perfection. We're actually scanning for potential, right?
Right.
So, what typically stands out to me when a resume comes across my desk is the person behind it curious, motivated? Have they taken an initiative? Like, even if it's on small scale,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about the big brands. It's not about where you've done your internship, your GPAs. It's none of that. Uh, I remember a resume where a student had written how they had organized a mental health workshop in one of their hostels because
Mm-hmm.
they felt like nobody's talking about stress. And when you see stuff like that, it instantly tells you that this person is noticing problems, they're taking action, and they care about people, right? Those are the
Perfect.
qualities that you're probably looking to hire in people. Even a small project, a personal project, a personal volunteering thing that they do, the college fest that they organize, I think that speaks a lot about your ability to plan, organize, execute, implement, coordinate, collaborate. These are real life skills. Like, nobody honestly is looking at what was your 2 month internship and what was your task at that. Like, honestly, like,
Absolutely.
nobody looks at that.
Like, your
So I think
contributions matter more than perfection.
yes, yes.
Perfect.
So I think the pro tip here is avoid just listing things. Add a line or two under each experience in terms of what you've learned or what's the impact it had. If you show the recruiter the why behind the what, I think better chances of you being moved to the next round.
Perfect. That's like a one-stop answer for all the questions that one might have on a resume, I believe. That's really wonderful. I really love the way you put it. Moving on, you've won several HR awards, right? Right from HR 40 under 40 to five, six other awards that you have won. What daily habits or values or decisions helped you stand out in such a competitive space?
Yeah, I think awards came quite later, Kirtan. I'm glad that I did win several of them. It does give you a sense of accomplishment sometimes. But I think, like, most of us think there is a secret playbook to winning this thing or doing things. But
Yeah.
what has truly stood out for me is consistency, right? I've always been consistent every single day. Uh, the only thing that I ask myself is, how can I make someone's life better today? Right? Their experience at work better today. It could be a conversation, it could be a policy change, or it could just be being present when somebody's going through the tough time, the burnout, the stress, or whatever they're going through, right? Other thing is being empathetic and being fair. I think a lot of times people tend to interchange empathy, being kind, with being soft, but that's not the case, right? You could be empathetic and still make tough decisions, unpopular decisions. It's about doing what is right for the organization, for the employees, because as on both sides, right, human resources is a slightly different function. The employees feel it's towards the organization feel it's the employees champion, and HR is truly in between, trying to balance both. So for me, I think not compromising on empathy and fairness, showing up every day and being resilient has been the thing. And I think that's what I live by. That's what my core values are. And it's about, for everybody, it's a different journey. It's a different core value that they stand by. For me, this
Absolutely.
has been the key to success.
Great. So consistency is the key.
Yeah, it
Great.
is.
Perfect. So, moving on, AI is changing how companies hire and how students apply, and what roles will disappear. What are the new skills will matter in next 3 years, as per your analysis so far?
True, I think yes, the way AI wave is here, and it's definitely not a future problem, Kirtana, right? It's about the right now shift. Uh, what I see is roles that are repetitive in nature. They are rule based, process based, like data entry, scheduling. Like AI has literally taken over the resume screening process. That was something that recruiters used to spend so much time on, right? So anything that has a set rule, anything that's repetitive in nature is more process oriented, can be automated, and will be automated, right? But I don't think any one of us needs to panic because AI is here. I think we need to flip the question and ask, what is it that the machines can't really do well? That's what our value lies in, right? Like a machine cannot be emotionally intelligent. It may not be able to critically think, story tell, or be creative enough. And these skills are going to be increasingly important. So I feel as tech savvy professionals, we should be able to collaborate with AI to do better. It's definitely not taking away our jobs. It's just the same thing when computers were introduced. Everybody said, okay, you know what, accountants are going to die, everything is going to go away. But it just helped them do their job better. So I think anything that's repetitive in nature will go away. Entry level coding jobs may be taken over. A lot of companies are now using AI to code most of their basic entry level coding roles, right? Like for those sort of jobs. What we truly need to probably see is how we could use emotional intelligence, storytelling, critical thinking, and I guess creativity. A blend of those skills is what will truly survive.
Perfectly put. And problem solving as well is like an add-on which everyone should think about, I believe. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Great.
think we are in the era of chat GPT bosses. Everybody's reaching out to chat GPT more than their bosses. They're like, hey, did I write this email correctly? Is this project report appropriate? I'm like, wow, it's probably because it's not judging you. You're not worried about, oh, I might get a
Exactly.
look. But yeah, there's something for us to learn from there, right? Like it does probably have a point for managers out there that like don't judge, give the right input without the drama, without the
Yeah, yeah.
chaos. I think that helps.
So they'll have to be more approachable to everyone, and then important thing is not being or not judging the others, right? So basically
Correct.
plays a very key role when it comes to things like this. But you have rightly put. I mean, people are not just using ChatGPT for email reviews and things like that, but a few of them are even using that as friends and
True.
sharing every damn thing to ChatGPT and kind of like, hey, today what I do, what do I do? Yesterday this is what I did, what do I have to do tomorrow? So, crazy limits are have crossed to every extent possible, I guess.
Honestly, and the model is still learning, right? So we
Yeah,
really don't know what it could do in future, what are the other uses. But yeah, I know people are using it like a therapist where they say, hey, this is how I feel, what should I do? And
correct.
it's amazing the kind of responses that you could get from the machine, like truly
Yeah.
amazing, in fact.
But the only thing is, I keep telling people, take it with pinch of salt. Don't always go with what it says. Ensure
Correct.
that you have your human intelligence also being mixed with artificial intelligence so you can get the best out of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. See, I think what differentiates us from anything else in the world is our ability to process emotions, our ability to think, right?
Correct. Correct.
AI is still learning, it's still machine, it's still artificial, right? Remember the
Correct.
word artificial.
Yes.
So we always need to probably use our own discretion in terms of how much to believe, how much to take, and how to process it.
Absolutely. Great. Moving on to the next question. What's one mistake that you have seen again and again in student interviews that instantly kills their chances?
Interesting question. I mean, there are so many, but I think one that stands out truly is trying to sound perfect, right? Most of the times when you ask them, like the icebreaker question about, tell me something about yourself or about a project, it is so rehearsed. It is so rehearsed that you're not able to truly find the person behind the resume, right? So I understand, I get it that students want to impress the recruiter, they want to impress the interviewer, they want to make the best of the opportunity that's given to you. But when somebody is giving a rehearsed, a textbook answer to every question that you're asking them, the interviewer is probably going to think, how are they going to handle real life problems? How are they going to handle the real life challenges, right? So probably it's about being honest, bringing your authentic self to the interview is what I always say. So when somebody actually tells us how they failed the first attempt, how they've tried, what they have learned, right? That's what gives us an insight beyond the resume. We've looked at the resume, we know that the skills match. We want to know the person behind the resume. So probably don't give rehearsed answers, be as authentic as possible in the interview. The recruiters and the interviewers, everybody knows that nobody's perfect, right? So it's not that rat race that you have to win. It's about standing out in that crowd, and the only way that you could stand out is being yourself, right? Not by rehearsing anything.
Absolutely true. Very well put. In fact, one thing is like people are, running behind what everyone is telling. What do I tell? What are they expecting? Kind of a thing. But one thing that not they're not realizing is what am I? What skills I
Correct.
own? How I stand out from the crowd. So these things, if they ask before the interview and then figure out what to bring to the table at that point of time, that would actually make a lot of difference, is what I feel. But yeah, knowing
True.
yourself before an interview, obviously age wise you're all well to know yourself, but people are
Correct.
not even thinking of asking these questions before going there. They're all behind like, oh, how do I tell, how do I impress them, kind of a thing. So maybe this
Right. And then
mindset shift might really help them.
correct. And what also happens, Kirtana, is that the interviewer is probably meeting 10 different candidates and listening to the same rehearsed question. So there is nothing that allows them to probably differentiate, right? They're like, okay, everybody's the same. I just have to pick up probably somebody with a better GPA or better internship, right? Because then that becomes the differentiator. Your true differentiator as a professional or as an entry level student is what you are, what you've learned. So I think if you're willing to show potential, if you're willing to show that you have attitude to learn, grow, that is slightly going to give you an edge compared to the rehearsed answers.
Very well put. Very well put. Moving on, if you could whisper just one skill into every student's ear before they graduate, what would it be and why?
Hmm. Interesting. If I had to pick one, it would be self-awareness, right? Because it's foundation of everything else. If you know your strengths, if you know your weaknesses, what triggers you, or what's your preferred working style, right? You tend to make better decisions. That's because you know yourself. You communicate better, you trust better, you collaborate better. So I've seen some students who probably are perfect, they have the perfect academic record, they sound really too good, like the 10 on 10 candidate kind of thing for a recruiter. But when you call them in for an interview, their energy just doesn't match what's there on the paper. It just doesn't match with the values. And you just feel that, you hired them, you still feel they have potential. It's probably not what they're looking for. They feel lost. They're like, this is not working out. And I think this generation today is probably more vocal than what we were when we started our careers. I think when we started our careers, we were more of like, okay, I don't know this, I will learn it, or I'll figure out a way to do it. But I've seen folks who probably say, I don't think so. That's not my core skill. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I understand. I get it. Probably you want to do something else. But yeah, I think it is a good thing that every student should probably reflect on what they want, what sort of career path they want. And it's not about joining the herd, right? You might have done your engineering, your BTech, like that's more of a peer pressure and the family pressure that often drives people to decide what their majors are going to be. But that necessarily doesn't mean that that's going to be their core skill, right? Like uh, for me, I did my commerce and I'm in HR, like they don't even connect with each other. But I think that's about finding what really works for you. I did try a few things in the finance field before jumping on to the human side of thing, because I realized it quite early that I think I am somebody who thrives in a people environment. From that per se, I think if each one of us and each student is able to identify, they're self-aware, they're able to identify what their strengths are and what truly motivates them and where they want to be. I think that's what they should look at, because that helps them choose the right career, the right organization, the right values, and scale it up from there.
Perfect. That answers all of it. Moving on, what's one interview question that reveals a lot about candidate, even if they don't realize it? I know tell me about yourself is something that we know is very important, but apart from that, what is that one standing question which will be your key to decision making?
One of my favorites is, tell me about a time you changed your mind about something important.
Oh,
And it's definitely not the textbook question, because most of the times people don't expect that question to come up, right? But the student's response or the candidate's response to this question probably tells me whether they are willing to learn, they're willing to grow, do they think about the situation, and probably have the courage to admit that they're not right, correct? Like a lot of times, and even irrespective of your age or experience, it's usually the first thing that comes to your mind. You stick to it, you turn it into an idea, and you say that, okay, you know what, this is right because this was the first thing to click. But a lot of times when you reevaluate, it might have not been the best decision. So if somebody is able to articulate that, I think that gives me an insight into how the person thinks, how they evaluate, and are they okay to make mistakes and learn from them. So that is truly the question that is a make or break for me when I assess someone.
great question. I never expected. In fact, I kind of attended 5 to 6 interviews so far, I guess, not many, but I never have encountered such kind of a question. So it's very interesting and maybe a big secret that you have revealed today.
No, in fact, I do remember one of the interns that I was interviewing, and I did ask her this question, and it was amazing how she was so self-aware about herself, because what she said was that initially during the college days, she used to think that leadership is about being the loudest voice in the room, right? Leading from the front, and
Yeah,
that's how most of us are taught. But what she observed was one of her other counterparts. They were extremely demure, quiet, but they were able to relate to the students faster. They were able to understand, process their feelings, and did gather more support. So it's not about being the loudest in the room. It is about probably being able to relate to people, reach out to them, and collaborate. So for somebody who's just graduated out of college to learn that, I think that person will definitely go places, because they've picked up these things early in life. So
correct.
yeah, I think, yeah, that's definitely a question that I always stick to.
Great, great. Wonderful. Now, the maybe one last question. If a student wants to stand out without internships or without big brand names, what should they focus on?
That's such an important question in today's day, right? Like, because not everyone has access to those flashy opportunities, and not everyone is going to be placed in one of the big fours for their internship, right? So what truly matters is your initiative. Did
Hmm.
you create something? Did you help out your community? Did you freelance? Uh, did you probably solve a real problem in college or a family business? That's an experience too, right? Like, what are we looking for? What are internships meant for? They're meant for real world experience. So it could be anything. So I interviewed someone who didn't have corporate internships, but they built an app to, track the payments for a small kirana shop.
Wow.
And it just shows the amount of potential this person has. They were able to find somebody as a client, right? Great sales skills there. They were able to identify the problem by speaking to the person. They were able to find the solution, execute
Develop
it,
it.
implement it, right? And it might not be perfect app, but just imagine for somebody who's just graduated to be able to do these things without being groomed, without being coached. So if this person gets the right opportunity, the right manager, they will go places. So they don't have flashy internship, but they have done something that truly matters. That's true world experience. Probably a lot of times when you're interning, you're just doing the basic core jobs, right? Like, and these could be like uh, just doing the basic data entry, just doing the frontline job. It might not give you a true experience, but I think when you're organizing a college fest, when you're probably doing a volunteering program, even when you're rallying support from your classmates, all of that is a skill that probably you're going to use at your workplace someday. So for me, I don't think in terms of big names, and I would encourage students not to just run after the big names. They should think about the real impact that they're delivering in the internship. It could be a real world experience. It could be something that they just did for the community. It necessarily not be corporate, right? Like I know everybody tends to sway by saying, hey, you know what, I interned at XYZ, I interned at ABC, but really, what did you learn? Like that's what's
Exactly. Learning
important.
matters. Great,
Yeah,
great.
I think so. For me, yes, it's about your initiative. It's not about the big names.
Great. Now, I also want to give one surprise question to you. So that would
Sure.
be if you will have to summarize your almost 20 years of experience in 2 lines, and then maybe, also talk about what are the two big lessons that you learned in your life so far in the corporate life, obviously. What would that be?
I think I can summarize it in 2 words,
Oh,
Kirtana. My approach towards my career has always been onward and upward, right?
wow.
So, like everybody else, when I started my career, I've made several mistakes, and trust me, silly ones at that. When I look back, I truly laugh, and I'm like, how naive was I? How did I think I could pull that off? But I constantly took risks, calculated risk. And one thing that's probably like, along with consistency has been resilience. I think I'm extremely resilient to a lot of things in life. So whether it is a failed project, whether it is a failed policy, whether it is about having those difficult conversations when you're letting go people, it's a business decision. There is a learning behind each one of that, right? I've constantly learned from my mistakes, and I've also probably understood that you are never you say I've achieved it, I've reached it. It's a destination. You're constantly learning. So for me, I love reading books. I constantly read, and I at least decide every birthday that the gift that I give to myself is I'll learn one skill this year. It could be anything, right? And not necessarily related to work. So it could be about, like, the new thing is learning about AI. So I'm just trying to see how prompt engineering works, how what are the different prompts and what does it yield for you. So I think consistency, resilience are two things that have stood out for me in my career. Learning from mistakes, I'm not scared of making mistakes. I'm not scared of accepting that I'm wrong. I think that's extremely important, because a lot of times as professionals, when we gather some experience, we tend to think, okay, we know it all, right? But that's never the case. So yeah, I think stay rooted to the ground, be resilient, be humble, and keep learning. That's what my career has been.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been really wonderful conversation. I guess it's like one-stop mentorship for everyone who is looking towards, how to start my career, what are or if the clarity is missing, right? So this one podcast can solve and bring clarity to what they have to do. Thank you so much for your time, Sharmila. I really have hundreds of more questions, but maybe in future I'll again block your time and then we'll connect for further more conversations like this.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast today, Ketra. You're definitely doing a fantastic job. And I must say, those were really well curated questions,
Thank you.
something truly relatable to the students today. So I think truly a good job on it. And I did enjoy my interaction. It's a wonderful addition to the Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.